Hello everyone, Sheek here with another Transformers review, or more of a continuation of a Transformers review of Transformers Haslab exclusive Unicron. And as you can see, here he is all assembled out of the box. If you guys didn't catch my last video or didn't bother to see it, you saw the struggle of me putting this behemoth together, and if you can see that there is more in the frame this time, it is because I am now using a GoPro camera. I've heard that it's things that up-and-coming YouTubers or even more well-known YouTubers use, so I thought I'd give it a try. And as you can see, Unicron is completely in frame. You can even see his head and the stand with the Autobot shuttle, which is extremely tiny on here. So I may need to change the narrow, the wideness of the view, but that might be for a later video, maybe, well, for later videos. But this one is appropriate for it to be that large because, you know, massive figure, big things that need to be seen. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to bother showing you all the pages of the instruction booklet because it is big, and it also has some other things about assembling him and all that. So, and yes, if you didn't see my face in the last video, which it may or may not be in, because I still need to produce it, you'll definitely see my face today. So, without further ado, let's get on to transformation. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect his ring. Although you might want a handy dandy screwdriver, just like with a Zeta Core Star, because I mean, even though he's big, does not mean that he doesn't have parts that are very frustrating. He is about as frustrating as Zeta to transform. Definitely not as complex, but not any less frustrating per se. And first off, as you can see, you take off the ring, take it off, pull it off, and then you lift up and pull it out, leaving him with just his spikes and his mandibles sticking out the front. And I suppose I'll go ahead and slide Unicron off to the side real quick. I mean, I know this isn't further in the instructions, but to get these from Planet Ring to Bat Wings, or whatever you want to call them, you first off you want to rotate this around, rotate like that. You want to point this down. Come on, point this like that, point that down, and then you also want to point this down. And seeing it's all orange, so it's kind of hard to see sometimes. Oh yes, you want to disconnect that, rotate like so, and then you want to clip together, and there you have one of his wings done. And of course, as Emily likes to say, second verse, just like the first. Put that thing off to the side. Hopefully this one will go a little bit smoother. Then you want to disconnect right here, rotate around, extend. Then you also want to plug this in right here. If you didn't see it on the first one, plug in like that, rotate down, straighten out, and there you have his bat wings, or whatever you want to call them. Set these off to the side, off camera, I suppose is fine for now. And on to the big fella himself. Alright, so you might want to have your handy dandy screwdriver ready for this as well, to pop this all loose. And you want to be careful and not scratch his paint, as I almost quite nearly did. But this time it looks like he is actually cooperating, probably because I've actually done it a couple times now. Once for putting them together and once just to transform them to see how difficult and a pain it is. But you want to go ahead and, there we are. get it fully disconnected, like so. Get it fully disconnected, like so. Then you have the two wedges, and I'll show one side facing the camera, and then the other side I don't care. Ooh, oh dear, I don't care as much about. Want to disconnect right there. You want to fold over there, and you want to flip that in, although that will be part. Like these panels right here, they end up going on his leg somewhere, like pretty much it either goes on his back or his leg. That's where all his kibble goes. And get all like that, and it's pretty much all you can do with it for right now. Just kind of sort of let it hang off like that. May as well also show what the next step, which is to disconnect the sides, which is kind of a pain sometimes, but maybe he'll cooperate. The Chaos Bringer, the Eater of Worlds, Unicron. And I don't want to get in the way of the camera either too much. This is all new to me. Used to sitting behind the camera, not being in front of it. And this is where I might need the handy dandy screwdriver. But the whole point is just to get it disconnected without, of course, breaking anything, and hopefully nothing broke. That's the thing that's scary about some of these really big figures that have really tough things, is that sometimes you think you're breaking it when you're really not breaking it, but it's stressful, nerve-wracking. Sometimes it makes you wonder, like, is it really worth getting figures like this? I mean, but that's why he's pretty much just going to be a display piece in planet mode when I finally get a place to actually display him. And you pretty much just leave everything hanging. And my second verse, just like the first, wanna get this broken down, just collapse everything up, set it off to the side. I mean, and even if it starts to kind of break itself down, it's not a huge deal. That actually might help in some ways. Help break it loose, make it easier to grab on to things. But as you can see, it is being difficult, and there we are. But yeah, just work with it until it comes loose, and just pray and hope and pray that you don't end up breaking a $600 and something figure, or even more if you decide to buy it on the secondary market, which hopefully most of you are just people that are interested in watching these types of reviews and don't necessarily plan on getting this yourself, because if you don't have one already, you're probably not going to get one unless you are a hardcore die-hard fan of Transformers. Alright, so you can go ahead and take that off. You don't have to just rotate it down like that, but you can go ahead and do that. Just get these out of the way. Same on the other side. Just pull it down, let it rotate down, disconnect, rotate up. Oh, of course, I should have shown it off, but I mean, because the shot kind of saw it, but you can munch. Okay. Okay. Next thing you want to do is work on the back by popping out like so. And on mine, I think it's slightly deformed on part of the plastic because it does not want to do what it's supposed to do. But you can go ahead and just disconnect it like so and get it to wriggle like that. Oh, and this is, like, as you can see, obviously, is on a stand. And technically, yes, you could take him off the stand to transform him. But I would highly, highly not recommend doing that. Not that I did not attempt to do that, and nor would I want to attempt to do that, because it is already a pain enough to do it as it is. And then same up here. Pop that loose. And then let's go ahead and rotate him around so that we can go ahead and see what to do back here. We want to clip them back together. Back together. Like so. And then same with these two right here. Oh, come on. It's wanting to fight me. That's what you get for working with a monster of a planet. And of course, you also want to lift that up and then rotate it around and collapse it down like so. Okay. I'll come back to, shouldn't wait too long because I don't want to, because I will eventually get his legs down and this is all going to get in the way of that. So first off, before we move further, you disconnect this right here, which is clipped onto his crotch right there. Or part of it, you disconnect it, and it just kind of gets all this kibble shell of a planet hanging down, and now you can actually access this like you're supposed to, and clip it together, like so. Hopefully it's in the frame of the camera, but you can start collapsing it down, and you're starting to get him into his backpack configuration. And if it's not obvious, transforming this guy is a little bit of a workout. I mean, he is pretty big and you're having to fight it, and like I said, you can't imagine trying to transform him without him on the stand. And flip him around once again so you can pull his arms apart from the back. He's pretty much has his legs going back behind his head and his arms back around his legs, but it is kind of how he transformed in the movie, which I do like that about how they decided to go about Unicron. Because Zeta's looks really good in robot mode, has a decent planet mode, but the transformation is nothing like in the movie. So if you want accuracy, Haslab's is a little bit more accurate as far as most of the transformation goes, besides the shell. And as you can see, you want to lift that up, move the arm out of the way, and lower it back down. Just get that out of the way. And then what you want to do next is to get event. It doesn't. I don't know if it matters too much exactly if you do it in this exact order, but then you click his shoulders into place, and then you can. Oh, come on! Okay, that disconnected his shoulder, but everything is so stiff on this. It's not too surprising that it became disconnected. Ugh. Yeah, it's not raising up his shoulder right now. Okay. Well, anyway, let's, in that case, rotate. Okay. Anyway, it is fighting me, so, yeah. Quit fighting me. Anyway. So off to the side, let's just go ahead and pull down his legs first then, since his arms are wanting to fight me. Shoulders, anyway. Pull that apart, and then lower down his legs, like so. And as you can see, everything right now is kind of a mess, but it will go together eventually. But here's a better look. Let me double check, make sure it's still on focus. Hopefully you guys have been able to see all right, but I'm not going to necessarily do this all over again, but I do apologize if you can't see properly. At the very least, my exertions might be entertaining to watch or listen to, but yeah, you get his shoulder in, and then you get his other shoulder in. Yeah, and then once they're in there nice and good, then you should be able to operate his shoulder joints. But right now, don't bother with that. Oh, another thing that you're kind of supposed to do before you lower his legs is to open up his feet. And as you can see, they aren't super articulated, but they have the illusion of a lot of articulation. But given his size, it's probably a good thing because of all that weight that has to be supported. Because yes, you do not have to have him on the stand in his robot mode. But bring down his other leg, and now you have his legs down. Now you can bring his butt flaps down, which really, considering how, and that, I guess, does not want to stay in place. But given that he has a big old backpack, I mean, that doesn't seem to matter too much. But anyway, let's go ahead and work on his legs, or his leg panels. So you want to rotate this down. Let me double check that's still in frame. Yeah, okay. Rotate this down, and then you rotate this like this. And then this one right here, you just essentially make sure everything's kind of clipped together, and then you push it up against his leg, and you make sure that this slides down like that. Then you clip it in place by just making sure that this slides into there. So it does feel kind of flimsy a little bit, but I mean, I guess it's about as good as they thought of doing to fix, or not fix it, but hold everything into place. Let's go ahead and see, rotating that up a little bit so that you can then slide this in. Come on. Slide in. Slide in. Okay, what's going on here? Why aren't you cooperating? Ah, that's why. Okay. I think that's why. Oh, that's why. Okay. Ah, there we are. Okay. So, sometimes you have to fiddle with it, but you gotta kind of get it to where it's collapsed up in here like so. And then it has a tendency to push this thing down, but you want to have this panel flipped out. Makes it a little bit easier. But then you want to have this rotate up, and then this right here tabs in behind here, like that. And then this clips over here like that. And then you pretty much got his panels on one leg complete. And then other side, just like the first, just clip this back thing, holder, rotate it down, then get this, come on, to rotate down, push it down like so, and then go into the holder like that, then have this flipped out, get everything all flipped up. And another way you can do it is just rotate it down, then rotate it back up, although that sometimes disconnects that right there. But get that tabbed in, and then get this tabbed in, then you got all these other panels held into place. And as you can see, lots of folded up panels on his legs, and that's one of the critiques that, or criticisms of Unicron, is that he has so many panels on his legs. So many. I mean, Zetas has some panels on his legs, but not a whole lot, and they're hidden a lot better. And as you can see, pretty much got him in his robot mode. Just have to finish up with these last panels, and you rotate them all around, and you slide it down. And there's a couple of notches back here that slides into, like so. And it is a little bit problematic wriggling it all in there. You also want to make sure that the horns are rotated around the other way. And then you kind of make sure everything's kind of all tabbed into place. There's a bunch of tabs that fit into slots. It'd be really hard to show on camera, but they're just kind of all throughout here. Now, of course, they're not all going to be able to be held in place just due to the sheer weight of everything. And that's why there's these two clips. There's one on each side, one right here, one right here on the other side, and they clip over here on this side. There's one identical on the other side, and you kind of hold it in place. And it is easier said than done, but then you clip it on. Clip it on, and then that holds this whole backpack into place. And then it's supposed to be slid down a little bit more, but I'm not going to fight it anymore because I don't want to risk breaking anything. That is, if I haven't already. I'm pretty sure I have not, but pretty much got them in robot mode. Just got a few finishing touches to do, of course, such as rotating these back. Just get them out of the way. You can rotate down like that just to get them further in the back. It doesn't specifically say exactly how to do them, but rotating them around like that just kind of gets them out of the way a little bit more. Now, of course, obviously you want to be able to give him his head, which is already on the stand right here. But I'll put that on last. But next major thing is to push these up, latch them into place, like so, and such as being accurate to the movie, his hands did slide out, or those slid up, based on the animation, however you want to look at it, but it was pretty cool. And then you see his hands just extend and flare out, and then kind of go into fists, so that's pretty cool. Get his hands out. You don't necessarily have to pose them if you don't want to. But just get them out. And then, of course, you want to give him his bat wings, which, depending on what angle you pulled them off on, in plant mode, you're going to have to slide them on there. And you just rotate them, and then to get them into position. And then same on this side. Plug in. Rotate down, and there we pretty much have Unicron in his robot mode. Just need to go ahead and attach his head, which is just a simple clip, and you just clip it on there, or a set of clips, and here we have Unicron, the Chaos Bringer, the Destroyer of Worlds, in his robot mode. And as you can see, he is immense, powerful, destructive, and quite a bit of a workout to transform. A little bit more frustrating in some ways than Zeta's, but still pretty fun nonetheless. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. Come on. Swipe. Yes, I am swiping. I am swiping down. Why won't you unlock? There we go. I guess I can't change the zoom while in the video. Okay. Well, anyway, there he is in his robot mode. And I suppose I can go ahead and get in closer on that noggin. And as you can see, fairly detailed, no articulation on his horns, which I think would have been nice to have him be able to rotate down so that you can have him have his head on in plant mode. I'm pretty sure you can transform him with the head on, but it doesn't specifically say so, and I don't want to risk damaging something by trying to transform him with the head on. Besides, you can have it on display on the stand while he's in planet mode, so I mean, I'm not going to really complain there. And as you can see, he does have teeth, which are not painted, which is one of my gripes and other people's gripes about him, that we paid so much for this figure, and yet they can't put paint on his teeth. So, that is a bit frustrating. And then, of course, he has a bunch of silver on his hands, silver paint at least on the back of his hands and on his forethumbs, but gray plastic for the rest of his fingers. Yellow for the back of his hands. I mean, there is quite a bit of detail. No translucent plastic on his abs, which some people have liked to have translucent plastic with an option to light it, just as with his eyes, which aren't really all that green. And then, I mean, he has a lot of detail. I mean, it looks pretty good overall, except for all the kibble, which is kind of a little bit of an eyesore, especially on the backpack. The legs, I can live with a little bit more, but on the back, it just looks so bad. Oh, so bad. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah. Anyway, the bat wings look really cool, except the only downside to them is that you can't really pose them as much because it does pivot down here, so you can't really spread them apart like you can on Zetas. But all in all, I suppose if it as a standalone figure, I mean, it is pretty good, and it is very impressive when compared to the size, the minuscule size of these two guys and the Autobot shuttle. But yeah, I'd say overall, as far as robot mode is concerned, planet mode, amazing, love it so much. But as far as robot mode is concerned, I'd say Zeta has them beat on that regard. And for comparison, here we have Zeta Unicron, and as you can see, he is much shorter, much smaller, but much more accurate to the movie. Although I think his face might be slightly stylized, but I do like that noggin quite a bit more. And if you, of course, want to see more about him, check out my review on Zeta's Unicron. I don't really like going about Zeta Core Star or Cell 01 or 01 Cell, whatever they're calling him. But yeah, pretty much third party Unicron. Better robot mode, not so much in planet mode, but this is most certainly a very impressive figure. Very impressive indeed. But I do get the feeling, like a lot of people have said, that it's like a giant Chug figure. And for those of you who are wondering what Chug is, it's pretty much just mainline figures that aren't like Masterpiece or third party, which are really good figures. They're just it's pretty much an oversized mainline figure is kind of what they're saying. But it's still, considering all things considered, when it comes what to expect from Hasbro, I'd say it's pretty good. Definitely, like I might have mentioned in the past, grail of my collection. One is display him and Zetas him in planet and him in his robot mode. And I think it's kind of appropriate to have a slightly smaller one for the robot and larger for the planet, because, you know, so he's not overshadowed by him when he's in his robot mode. So they kind of complement each other, I think. And also, they're both a pain to transform, as you saw. So, getting to have one in robot mode and one in planet mode. Definitely going to be beneficial if you're kind of a person that likes to have them in, you know, mess around with them, pretend, hey, they transform. But if they take like an hour or more, depending on the figure, Zetas, I've gone down to like 20 minutes. It's going to be a real pain for any, but I think the big thing about Unicron is his sheer size. Like, he's massive. And then there is a lot of color on him and all that. Like, like I said, I have mixed feelings about this guy. Like, I mean, because it's like, but I wouldn't mind displaying him in robot mode just because of his sheer immensity. All right, enough gushing and criticisms of him and his faults, I guess, shortcomings in his robot mode. But let's go ahead and look at his articulation. He can look up that far. He has mouth articulation. He does have eyes that move, and I'll show that later when I change out his face. But you can't see him through his eyes for whatever reason. And he probably could do a full 360, maybe. I don't think so, maybe. But he just doesn't have the room to do it, really. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do wings. Wings can, of course, well, there's a little bit they can do, but as far as like right here, I mean, they can do a full 360, but they do want to catch on stuff, so probably just move them as needed for whenever you're moving your his arms around, because they are on his shoulders. As far as his arms are concerned, let's go ahead and move Zeta's out of the way just a little bit. Don't want to bulldoze him over. You want to, well, not want to, but you, as far as his arms, they can go pretty much full 360, but I am not going to do that because I involve a whole lot of moving on the ring, but you get the idea, and very, very strong ratchets. And then you can go up about that far at the shoulder. Very heavy, very loud ratchet. About 90 degrees bend at the elbow. A smoother, little bit of a ratchet, but not, you can't really hear it that much. Bicep swivel. He does have wrist swivel. Pretty much most of every single joint is articulated, you know. Well, 3 points of articulation for each finger. Unfortunately, they're all on a hinge, which means that even though you can move them separately, he kind of has articulation of, like, say, Cybertron Primus's hands, but he has no ball joints at the base of his hands, so you can't splay his hands out like on Zeta. So that is one thing that isn't as great, but it's better than almost any Hasbro figure, so as far as articulation. And then, let's see, he does have, as far as I'm sure, no, he does have hip rotation, and you probably don't want to do it while he's on the stand because then it just catches stuff on here. But yes, he does have hip rotation, and it is loud. I don't know if you can tell, but it is most certainly loud. Legs, oh boy, let's go. Can go forward about that far, not too far, and back. If you have them on the stand, you can go out back about that far. Yeah, that's about as far as you can go. Let's see, lift up butt flap. You can go up a bit further, but realistically, not too far. Knees, you get, oh boy, with all the kibble, less than, just a little under 90 degrees. If it wasn't for the kibble, maybe about 90, but I wouldn't say much more than that. Let's see, can he do the full splits? Can Unicron, Destroyer of Worlds, do the splits, or will he be defeated in that regard? Well, he wouldn't be able to hold the split quite, but he can, come on, move out of the way, move out of the way. He can pretty much do the full splits. He is a pretty ballerina. Not really. Anyway, and he does have thigh swivel, nothing at the knees as far as swiveling is concerned. He does have ankle tiltage, he does have toe and heel spur, and then a little bit, but that's more for transformation, obviously. But it is something you can do to pose him, and I am starting to get winded. It is sad when you are getting winded by an action figure. Anyway, there we have it. That's about it for the articulation. And as you can see, that's probably kind of why they also consider him kind of like an oversized chug figure, because there is an insane amount of articulation. So I mean, I don't know if there's a huge amount more articulation for Zetas, but he does have a lot more freedom of motion, unlike him. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool that he can do the splits, although I think this is more for when he's off the stand. And I had to have assistance taking him off the stand to begin with, but let's see if I can remove the stand on my own. Let's see. There we are. Okay. I was able to put him back on the stand, so I know I can at least do that. Now I know that I can take him off the stand too. But he is a little bit back heavy, so let's see. About... Come on. It's like fighting a toddler almost. At least a toddler in this case is not fighting back, but oh boy, it is quite the workout. And his panels on his sides are not wanting to stay in place. They are coming loose because they are relatively loosely held in place because he is, like I said, more of a display statue piece. I don't know if I said it in this review specifically, but yes, that's pretty much what he is. And pretending he's anything other than that is probably folly. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it is... Okay. Finally. Although he is kind of leaning forward, but I'd much rather that him lean forward a little bit than fall over backwards. That would not be fun. I mean, it might be fun for you guys. Kind of hilarious, possibly, but would not be fun for me. And, yeah. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and put him back on the stand because there's no point other than just saying, hey, look, you can stand without the stand. Haha. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and get him back on the stand because I don't want to risk him falling over. Then, do the long, arduous task of getting him back into planet mode so I can put him back away. Alright, slide on. But see, as you can see, it's much easier to put him back on the stand than it is to remove him from it to begin with. And then let's just go ahead and move his legs back and then into a more standard, normal pose. And then I'll show you off his other face. Okay, so, hello, there's his face. Head, anyway. And then you can take off his face and chin. It's pretty much, as you can see, there's two little notches on his chin. And then, yeah, scary face. And then eyes, they move, they look side to side. Hey, hello there, I am Unicron, I am here to eat your world. I don't know. Anyway, and then you can swap out his face for I have been blown up from severe indigestion face. I don't know, goofiness. And you can also put on a goatee. More of a goatee, but you want to put it on first because if you don't, it'll make it harder to put on his other face. No. If you wait to put it on after you put on his face, it's harder to get this on because it's sort of like, what are you doing? Putting it upside down. And as you can see, he has explosion damage on his face and his eyes have been punched through, just like when they were in the movie, like, you cannot destroy my destiny. Anyway, yeah, and that's about it for Unicron, although it seems kind of silly to have his head on his body with it all damaged, but yeah, he did suffer quite a bit of that damage before he actually blew up, so that's not too unfair to have it on there like that. Looks kind of like Scarface from a distance. Anyway, this has been another Sheek's Transformers review. If you like this review and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. And until next time, have a good one, everyone.